Today's episode is sponsored by Starcox, your business building dream team for business owners who want it all but can't do it all. Whatever is taking time away from your zone of genius in your business, let Starcox handle that. Whether you need branding, social media management, systems and automations, website or landing pages, sales and marketing, content creation, and more. Sherry and Jesse and their team of experts are your one-stop solution to implement the projects that have been keeping you stuck while you focus only on your favorite parts of your business. Get unstuck today and scale your business with the Starcox Dream Team.
Hey, goddesses, welcome to another episode of Permission to be Wealthy. And today I've got this amazing man sitting across from me that I am so excited to introduce you to. His name is Rodney Waits.
That's it.
All right. I love it. His podcast is called Impact is Greater Than Influence. It's going to be fun. I'm really excited. I want to tell you a little bit about Rodney. He created the podcast to empower and encourage everyone that listens to use their voice. I truly believe and this is Rodney, truly believes that we can all make an impact, even if we believe we don't have much of an influence. I'm excited for this conversation, and I'm going to kick it off with Rodney. What does being wealthy mean to you in this moment?
Thank you. In this moment and every other moment, wealthy to me is all about finding a way to where you can stay in constant alignment with what fulfills you. Every day, I try to meet people and I try to give them the time of day. Every day, I try to find something that's going to challenge me as a person, as a man of my household, as a friend. Out of all of these ways that most people find to be really hard to do, I embrace them. And that's the way that I can see and say that I'm wealthy beyond all measure.
Wow. And one of the things I love about the conversations that we have on this podcast is that we're always adding to our definition of wealth. And thank you. You just gave us another really powerful one. Challenging ourselves every day to be a better person.
Absolutely.
Right? Like if you're not, I truly believe if you're not growing, we're all given the gift of this life experience to live to our fullest capacity.
Absolutely.
And if you're not personally challenging yourself to do that, yeah, you can have a lot of money, but right? Tony Robbins talks about if you're not fulfilled, all the money in the world.
What's it for?
Yeah, what's it for? And if you're not making a contribution, which it sounds like you're really passionate about doing. So.
Very much so.
All right. So my next question is around using our voice to make an impact. And I think for a lot of the goddesses, one of the things that I find as we're in conversations is that sometimes, especially for women, and I'm sure for men, but I serve women, is we might get into this state of thinking that I don't really have the opportunity to have much influence. So how can my voice really make an impact? And what would you say to someone who's thinking like that?
I would say, number one, there's no one that can be a better version of you than you. So the first step of finding your gift is to accept that you are who you are. There's a lot of people that have trained me in using voice and communication and so many other ways to reach people, but sometimes the best way is just to pay attention and give them your time. That's the most valuable thing that we have. And as an individual who doesn't know their purpose, sometimes we can get really pressured into thinking we have to have one.
Yeah.
You could be a powerful mom like you are. You can be a powerful sister. You can be a powerful spouse and not have to do anything else with the rest of your life except for serve them to your ultimate capacity. And you will feel like you can be in constant alignment with knowing that you were meant to do those things.
Yeah.
If you run into things naturally, let it happen.
Yeah.
But don't make it all about the chase.
Yeah.
Make it all about who you're serving in the meantime and why you're choosing to do it.
Yeah.
Because people will question you. I've had so many times where people question the validity of what I do, and it only reinforces the reason why I do it.
Yeah. The fact that they're challenging you on that, like, and this is why I need to do it. And one of the things that you just brought to my awareness as you said that, like, in every moment you can be making an impact, and we think that, well, I can't make an impact because I don't have a massive following, right? I don't have like 10,000 followers on Instagram, so how can I make an impact? And as I listened to you, I thought to myself, yesterday I had a conversation with my son, one other human being.
That's right.
Right? And in sharing something positive with him, he like literally a 16-year-old boy recorded. He goes, just so you know, before you play this is embarrassing, right? But he recorded himself screaming in joy
Yes.
at how happy he was for the one little positive thing that I said.
And that's all it takes.
Yeah. And so I love that message, that really to help us, all of us, and especially for those of us that are women, because we're making an impact in our family.
Yes.
In
Oh
our-
my God. I can
Right.
speak and attest to that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I have a woman in my household
Yeah.
who I couldn't live without. There's so many things that she can do to support everything I do and everything all of her friends do.
Yeah.
And she's God-fearing. And there's something about just being there for the person that you know you love and you want to spend time with.
Yeah.
Like, it's way, way underrated. There's so many people that need to know that there's so much power in just taking up that one part of your day and creating some momentum and rolling into the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I know you're pressured by scrolling through social media. I know there's constant ways that you compare yourself to others.
Yeah.
Don't be brought down by the curse of comparison.
Yeah.
Be uplifted
Yeah.
by that ability to just be you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So you touched on something, and like we're totally off script here, but it's really powerful. And I know the women will resonate with this as we're looking to create wealth.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that we're like just constantly shaping the definition of wealth. And what I love about what you're saying, and we are going to get to the point where we talk about, you know, using our voice to make an impact in a larger setting.
Yes.
But let's start at home.
That's it.
And as I think about wealth, and I think about my household, and I think about the people in my household that my voice has an impact on, and the wealth that we can create as a family, like my son having an amazing social life at this moment, doing well in school, looking forward to college, that's success, that's wealth for him right now.
Yes,
right?
it is.
And the things that I say when I use my voice and affirm him is making an impact. But then I thought about, as you spoke about your wife, I thought about my husband, who said to me recently, and I want you goddesses to think about this, the men in your life and how your voice can also have an impact. And my husband said to me, he goes, you know, something I notice with women is that you don't understand power.
That's right.
He says, you think power is masculine and strong and forceful. He goes, power is influence. And when you're in your divine feminine, the things that you say to affirm me, that's soft, even just have a great day, honey.
Yes.
I know you're going to be amazing today. Like using my voice in that way creates such influence on him and his life and how he's creating wealth for our family. So I wanted to piggyback on what you just said about that and start with, you know, the impact in small places. And now I want us to jump into a great story that you might have where you used your voice to make an impact and it turned out to be something beyond your wildest dreams.
So I hope that the viewers here are okay with vulnerability, because I like to say that vulnerability is my superpower. There's a lot of things that I do on my local radio show, which is then turned into my podcast. And what I've done is I've been able to showcase to people that really need to see that we're flawed. We are.
Amen.
And there's so much power with being flawed and powerless. And you have to accept that. And when you do take up your voice, you're inspiring someone else to use theirs.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, one of the greatest moments and the worst moments of my life led me to use my voice. I had a very relatable childhood like many others and was influenced very heavily by some of the wrong people.
Yeah.
And without a lot of that affirmation of knowing that I had a path, that knowing that I had a journey, I led myself into one of the biggest mistakes in my life and got a DUI about 7 years ago now.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And a lot of people, you can get it. Don't ever think it won't happen to me.
Right.
And I thought that.
Oh, wow.
But what really happened was it happened to me.
Yeah.
In doing all of the things like I did, such as taking on 3 jobs to pay for 2 lawyers, living in a small trailer that was leased to own with a man to this day named Kenneth, who I thank very highly for giving me a chance when nobody else would and my credit was shot.
Wow.
I took up my camera phone and pointed it at my face and shared my story, told how I was feeling, processed what I needed to go through, and then shared it with others. And it brought some of the most influential, and impactful people in my life that I never thought would have been there. And would I have not done that?
Yeah.
And would I have not taken that power away from other people that could potentially use it against me?
Yeah. Oh,
I would
wow.
never, ever be in the position I'm in today.
Wow. That's a lot. Can't do that to me all at once. Like, I love that piece about, by using my voice, I took power away from other people who could use it against me.
Yes.
And we were talking about this before we started, where there, I remember on my journey where I was trying to invite people into this idea that they could experience wealth. And I was sharing my success stories. And I'll never remember a woman in the back of the room said, well, not for nothing, but you're married. You've built a 7-figure business. Like,
Sure.
good for you,
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I'm not telling the right story. Like, really, she took my power away in that moment.
Yes, you did.
And once I started telling the truth, I've had to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. I've sat on the kitchen floor and cried in fear about what's going to happen at the end of today.
Yeah.
Right. I love the way you language that. Take the power away from others who take it away from you. And little did you know, I can imagine, that using the seemingly embarrassing story,
Yes.
or right,
Yes.
of having to get a DUI and starting to tell it. Can you tell us, I don't know, like, I love this. I love the moments where, like, that one decision led to another moment where you literally have the knowing that you changed someone's life.
Absolutely.
Can you think of like a one-to-one story like that?
Multiple. I'll give you one. And I was very vulnerable with a woman. I used to own a coffee shop. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've had 9 different businesses.
How
sold
old are you?
3 for a profit, 30.
Holy moly.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I've had my moments where I've
Okay.
gotten close to bankruptcy. I've
Yeah.
gotten close to being like, I need to go back to work, but I'm
Yeah.
resourceful. And if you have a resourceful mindset,
Yeah.
you'll never be poor.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
believe that in the amount of times that I've learned all the things I have, I still have so much to learn. I think the day that you learn you don't really know anything at all is the day you're just starting to learn things.
Yes.
That's something
Yes.
that I've learned.
Yeah.
But the one story I can tell you is this woman had a really dark past that had to do with abuse. And
Okay.
it was relative to a lot of her community. And she was very ashamed to tell me that until I opened up and shared with her my story. Because look, she's sitting there looking at me, getting a coffee at my shop, not knowing that I'm working double time to pay for all of it to operate.
Wow.
It never made a profit.
Wow.
I sold 10 houses to some of the main customers in there because I gave them my time. But the actual operation of the business, the payroll, the inventory, everything was paid for out of my real estate pocket.
Wow.
And people to this day don't know because they were like, wow, that place was a staple. I used to love going there.
Wow.
But that woman had that past that she shared with me, and she broke down and she cried. And she told me that she was on her way to try and make a Netflix documentary about how the sexual abuse had not only harmed her, but her daughter as well from those same people in the community.
Wow.
And sorry to be too,
Yeah, that's
vivid,
okay. That's just real life.
but this is real.
Yeah.
And she said, the only thing that I'm missing right now is the ability to go and try to pitch it to this perfect person that might have a way to introduce it to a documentary for Netflix.
Yeah.
And I need $1,000. I wrote her a check right there
Wow.
in the parking lot.
Wow.
And she cried and gave me a hug. And
Wow.
she literally took a picture with me. And I shared her story on live Facebook.
Yeah.
And that and so many other things have just came from me being like, look, I know it looks like I got it all together, but
Yeah.
I'm a mess. I'm a huge mess. I
Amen.
have so much to learn,
Yeah.
and I will be there for you in your worst times,
Yeah.
even if you can't be there for me in my worst times.
Yeah.
Because that's true service.
Wow.
And that's what I did.
Rodney, that's a lot. Here's the thing that I got from that is wealth is about contribution,
It is.
right? And it really is. I mean, here in our community and with our goddesses, I'm really on a mission to say wealth encompasses so much more than the number in your bank account. It's really, can you look yourself in the mirror at the end of the night and go, I'm making an impact. I'm making a difference. There is another human being out there at this moment that because of me,
That's it.
because I spoke my truth, I'm telling my story, I'm talking vulnerably, they are inspired to do their next thing.
Yes.
What else? Like that's living. That's wealth.
That's wealth.
That's wealth.
Yeah,
right?
we can agree on that. And I'll tell you one thing that personally hits home, because I have someone in my life that was really struggling to see their value proposition. And you being a 7-figure building woman, you know all about that.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
in specifically, I think our biggest value proposition is our story. It's sharing your story. It's taking up that mantle of telling people how you went through the hardest times. It's giving all the information away. Don't allude to something that people need to keep going down a rabbit hole to figure out just to benefit yourself. That's an influencer.
Yeah.
That's their route.
Yeah.
And that's why I chose to make it impact is greater than influence, because I believe that this transformative message will truly help people realize their own gifts and their own God-given abilities.
Oh my gosh. We're talking about wealth and value. What is your greatest value? Because, again, back to traditionally, when we think of wealth, we think of the net worth and the numbers and the financials. And it's like, what's my inherent value? How do I assess my wealth through the value that I have personally and that I am adding to the lives of others? And I love that you said, when you're trying to figure that out, whether it's, I know that this is most women that will listen to this have a business, and I'll talk in a business context, but also I think truly when you look at yourselves personally and think about your value, I have this belief that we're here to serve. We came in to this gift called life.
Yes.
And we got assigned our people.
Yes, we
and
did.
You and I talked about
We talked about that right before this.
Right.
Yes.
We're assigned our people. And living is not about like, let me show up and have 10 million thousand followers. So, I can be like, here I am.
That's not.
It really is about who are my people and how do they need me to show up so they'll know I'm here to serve them. And the only way that your people are going to know the value that you have to add is when you tell your story.
I love that so much. I actually interviewed Tony Robbins' son, Jarek Robbins,
Yeah.
on my YouTube channel. Very, very underdeveloped right now because I'm just a man that's doing many things. Many
At 30
things.
years old.
And only have so many hands, right?
Yeah.
And the greatest thing about the story he told on my interview was that there's an impact radius that we should all be aware of. And it starts in your home. And the minute that you're affecting your son and he's going out there and he's feeling fulfilled and he's feeling encouraged and he's feeling empowered, you're saving so many other lives just through him. Now that you're working with him and he's got his impact radius, it grows naturally. But then think about after you've accomplished having that great relationship with him, who can you work on next that's close in your circle? What friends can you impact the most next by saying, listen, I know you're upset. You know I'm at my job. You know I'm working diligently to grow it and have more, prosperity and all these things that we seek. But I want to give my time to you right now.
Right.
I don't want to tell you advice. I don't want to relate it to me and take the story off of you. I want to tell you I understand you and I love you. And even at the end of all of what you're going to tell me, I'm going to accept you. And then you've got your son, your friends, and now who knows, you've got your neighbor. That neighbor is going to be inspired. That neighbor is going to be encouraged. And then you've got someone at the gas station. Now you're working in your community. And it's a huge radius that naturally is going to grow. So be aware of your impact radius and think about how you can add more value specifically in what I like to call on my podcast, it's an incremental change. It's 1% better every single day. I know women can be very hard on themselves.
Amen.
And I hope it's okay if I say that.
It's okay if you say
but
that.
I want to tell you that you are perfectly made to be the way that you are now and the way you'll always be.
Yeah.
So anything that you do to worry about the future isn't always going to change it. So find ways to actually encourage yourself to get one thing in alignment. That way you can have momentum that takes you through the rest of your life.
Yeah. So powerful. I want to thank you for being with us today, Rodney. And I'm just going to share something that we never got to talk about, but you said to me that was so powerful. Every single day, as we consider our impact radius, here's the most important thing to do to build your wealth is to chase fulfillment.
That's right.
I love it. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.